Buying Bitcoin instead of a house. Today, we're gonna look how buy Bitcoin can be much more beneficial than having a house. So, first, we're gonna look over here at btchome.ca. You can have there are so many people out there who wanna sell a house for Bitcoin. For example, you have over here. This person is asking 6.2028 Bitcoin for that house. So this is about 3 bedroom, 1 bathroom, one kitchen and 7 room. So that's decent house and so in Quiet Street in Delhi. So again, this is just the beginning of places that's gonna ask like Bitcoin for the house because I'm gonna show you why. Because houses, right, are gonna worth less and less Bitcoin over time. So if you look on here, right, the average house price in the United States in the third quarter of 2024 was $420,000, right? $420,000 according to Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. So that's the average price. But if we look back to 2015, the median price of a home in the United States in 2015 was 289,000. Okay. So by the way, that may vary depending on your country, but it's almost the same result when you put it against Bitcoin. So now we just trying to be specific to US, yeah, but it can be the same thing in your country, maybe probably like even better in your country. So if you look over here, at in 2015, okay, in 2015, the average house was 289,000. Okay, so let's do that. Let's do 289,000, and we're gonna look at the Bitcoin price at that time. So, okay, let's see here. Bitcoin price, on 2015. Let's take the average. Let's see over here. So, as you can see in the bottom here, that was the Bitcoin price, right? So, 2015, April 230, March, May 230, 250 on those areas, 250. So, I think we're gonna let's take 250. That was the average price, right, in 2015. Let's say 250. So we're gonna go with that, right? 250. So what we're gonna do basically, that was 200, the average price in 2015, 289, right? So we're gonna go over here, 290. Let's say 290,000, right? 290,000. And then we're gonna divide that by 250, right? Because that was the Bitcoin price, right? So we're gonna see how many Bitcoin it costs to buy a house back then. And here we go. It cost 1,160. Okay, 1,160 Bitcoin to buy one single house. Okay, to buy one single house. So let's go to now, right? Let's go now. Let's go. Let's make a big jump. Okay, we're gonna jump all the way to today. The average house, right, is about 420,000. Okay, so we're coming from, right, 1,000. Right, remember that number, 1,160 Bitcoin. So let's say 1,100 Bitcoin. Okay, so now we're gonna go all the way so to the average price of today, 420,000. So, right, so 420. So that's the average price of today. So we're gonna divide that by the price of Bitcoin. Okay. So you see the price of the home, right? It kind of double, right, since 2015 to 2024. So now, right, we're gonna look how we can uh, see how much money that gonna cost now. So we're gonna look at the price of Bitcoin of today, right? Today. So 67,000, let's say 67,900. Right, I want that. So we're gonna do that. 67, right? 67,900. Okay. So to see, boom, it only costs 6 Bitcoin, right? 6.1 to 18 Bitcoin. Almost, let's say 6 Bitcoin, right? Of today. Think about if you had, let's say you sold your house back then, right? You get 1,100 Bitcoin today, right? The same house only costs 6 Bitcoin. Now, let's look how many houses you would be able to buy, right? Let's see how many houses you would be able to buy with with all your Bitcoin, right? Let's see how many houses, because for one house you get for 6 Bitcoin you get one house, right? So let's see how much houses can you buy back, right, with your money. So we're gonna divide that 1,000 Bitcoin, right, by 6, right? 1,100 Bitcoin divided by 6. So let's go there. We're gonna say 1,100. We're just gonna round it a little bit, and we're gonna divide it by 6 to see how many houses. You would be able to get 183 houses today, right? You get 183 of those houses today. So this is the thing, guys. Like, this is kind of a no-brainer to me, right? Like, I never see something like this before. So for like the same thing gonna happen for people who are selling their houses today to buy, like, for Bitcoin, right? Those people right here, they're gonna make a lot of, like, they're gonna be able to buy way more houses in the future like for those Bitcoin. Like, these people are asking like 6 Bitcoin right now. This house is probably gonna worth like 0.125 Bitcoin in the next 15 years, right? And by the way, like 2015, right? Like 2015 to 2024, that's not even 10 years yet. That's only like 9 years, right? Is that 9 years? So, like, I can't see anything like this, like, that can give you that much with that much upside potential. And the fact is, you will say, okay, why? Well, the reason why is because the Bitcoin inflation rate drops drastically, right? So, for example, since then, the inflation, right, of the Bitcoin money supply was in 2015, that was at 992, let's say 10%, right? It dropped since then to 0.0, like, no, that was the money supply inflation, right? That's inflation right now, 0.05%. So it was at 0.1%. No, no, oh, sorry, guys. I'm wrong. I'm wrong on this. I'm looking at the number in 2040. We're not even close there. Let's go. We're gonna be more realistic here. So this is the number here. Okay. So now we're looking at an inflation rate of about 0.84%. Right. 0.84%. Right. 0.84%. Back then. Right. So back then, 2015, we had an inflation of 9.29%, right? 9.29, right? Let's say 10%, right? 10% to today of an inflation of 0.83. So what are we gonna do? Let's do the math, okay? 183, okay? So let's do the math. We're gonna do 10. We're gonna divide that by 0.83. Okay, that's 12 times, right? The inflation rate the Bitcoin monetary inflation rate, right? It's the rate the money is coming out, right? The amount of Bitcoin that's coming out every day, right? This flow get cut. This is how much get cut by 12 times, right? Since 2015, right? Get cut by 12 times. So that's why the house value, right? The value, the amount of Bitcoin, right? You sold the house for back in 2015, who is able to buy you almost 200 houses, this 200, like almost 180 houses of today. So this is why, because the inflation drops drastically. And if you look, like, let's say now, today, if you're doing that today, uh, in the next, let's say, 10 to 5, let's say in the next 10 years, in 2034, right, you're gonna look back, right? Inflation is gonna do the same thing because it just programmatically applied every 2 years, just cut in half, right? So inflation is gonna be probably the same thing. It's just gonna be cut it in 12, right? 12 times divided by 12, right? So you divide that by 12, right? And then it's gonna have, well, we're gonna have this much of inflation, 2034, and then you're gonna see the same thing again, and then the same thing gonna happen again. This is just the power, right, and not only that, not only that, um people don't think about how many the consequences, right, of a deflationary money, right? A money that hold its value, that's conservatively protected by energy, right? So if I show you this chart, I'm gonna show you the Bitcoin hash rate. Okay, the amount of hash rate going into the Bitcoin network. That's the amount of energy. Okay, that's nothing to scare you. Yeah, that's the amount of energy competing for the next Bitcoin. Right. So that's the hash rate. Yeah. If you look here, that was a crash when China banned mining back in 2021. It fall all the way to 100 exahash per second. I remember that day. And then we had went from 180, 170 exahash to 100. Now it's like 7 times that, right? Like 7 times and higher than that right now. So this is the energy, right? And the difficulty to receive that Bitcoin, right? The competition is very high. So money is always a game. It's always a game of competition and difficulty, right? So the most difficult, the hardest to create, win, right? So this is the thing. Like most people are looking at Bitcoin as an investment, but they completely miss the idea. It's the thing. It's the money. It's the only time, the first time you are able to own something that's money, that's moneyfied, right? Nothing else was money before. We only used them as a proxy, as a money proxy, right? A money, it's something you like you don't like invest in. It's something you hold for the long term, for uncertainties, right? So when you invest in somebody, you invest in a company for the short, like for the, let's say, 5, 10 years, but in the money you save that for 20, 50, 40 years, like 90 years, right? So now let's look at some other um, factors. We have, this is a more clear picture of the Bitcoin halving that drop every 4 years, right? Went from 50 Bitcoin every 10 minutes to 25 to 12.5 to 6.25 to 3.125 today. And then this is it, right? Back in 2017, this is how much Bitcoin. Now in 2022, this is how much Bitcoin, and it keep falling, right? So this is the deflationary nature of Bitcoin, and this is why I think people will start to wake up to this, and especially in a environment where interest rate is going up, right? The interest rate is going up. Um, and why? Because inflation is higher. Let's say I'm a bank, right? and then inflation rate is going high and higher, and then I'm gonna feel like, okay, well, if inflation is at, let's say, 10%, real inflation is 10%, the government is telling me the inflation is at 3%. Well, I'm probably not gonna give you a loan for 3%. I'm gonna give you a loan for at least 5 to 7%. And those are this like around there, right? The interest rate is around there. So now the bank is asking for more money, for more interest, right? They are asking the government more money. The investors from foreign nation asking more money for their money. So because of that, like the market will be forced to squeeze interest rate to bring interest rate, like to pay a higher interest rate, and because of that, um, price of houses will have to drop. Right? Let's say if I'm paying, for example, if I can only afford, let's say, um, a house of 500,000, right? So 500,000 house, right? A house like this with an interest rate of 2%, right? Let's say an interest rate of 2%, 2%. So that's about $10,000 a year, right? So, but the first house, right? The first house is if the interest rate, right? If the interest rate goes up to, let's say, uh 15%, right, for me to pay an interest on that house, right? So now I would have to pay $75,000, right? So I have to pay $75,000 a year. So now you divide that, so $75,000 a year. So $75,000 a year. uh okay, I'm gonna go there. 75, um mm, 75, right? So 75 divided by 10,000, 75,000 by divided by 10,000 by 7 times. So you're paying 7.5 times more in interest, right? So because of that, the price of houses will have to drop, right, drastically, because less people can afford those, right? So, and at the same time, right? At the same time, technology is making it easier and easier to build houses. Now, maybe you're not gonna be able to get the same quality of homes as before. Maybe the quality of those houses is gonna drop, right? Like because of, yes, technology is good. It's gonna make houses build up faster. Maybe you're not gonna get like a single house, beautiful, but maybe you get a condo with a 1, 2 bedroom and then this little bathroom. But again, you get more in terms of houses, right? In terms of in those prices. So this is it, guys, and I think that was all I got, right? So if you want to be able to buy more houses in the future, then you may want to consider, right? Maybe put in a little bit. Now, I'm not saying sell your house, right? I'm not giving any advice here. I'm just saying maybe you may want to look into how you can save some money into Bitcoin for the future like in case, right? In case, your houses may fall. I don't think the house prices are gonna fall in terms of dollars. They may not fall, never fall, because the government will always print more money to make sure the house prices pop up. Because if imagine the house prices fall, right? Now you owe the bank, let's say $100,000 on your house, right? The price of house fall from 500,000 to, let's say, 250,000. Now you owe the bank $250,000, right? Now there's no way you're gonna be able to pay the bank that money, even if you sell the house, because you can only sell the house for half the price. Now, where are you gonna get the money to pay the bank? You're not. You're not gonna get the money because you're not gonna be able to sell the house for the same initial price you bought it for. So that's why the government always gonna print more money to prop up the housing market, to prop up everything else, right? To prop up everything else, make inflation, push prices of everything because it's a debt-based economy, and because of that, right? So they prevent the crash of things, right? They prevent the crash of stocks, right? Imagine like there are so many people who can take leverage against their stocks, right? It's the same thing. People, let's say they have a stock, and instead of selling the stock, and they just go out there and say, hey, I'm gonna borrow against that stock and then buy whatever else I want to buy, right? It's like a free lunch economy, right? Now what, and they just and then the big government keep printing money, prop up the price of the stocks, and then now the person never fell, right? They never get a margin call, right? On Bitcoin this doesn't happen, right? If the Bitcoin price falls, you had a collateral loan against your Bitcoin, then there's no bailout, right? There's nobody who can print more Bitcoin or make the Bitcoin price goes up or whatever. It's your own responsibility. So again, it's just something to think about, to look at, and because I was shocked when I first saw this and I wasn't looking at Bitcoin in this angle. So I hope this was a useful video for you and with a lot of insight, and which maybe help you think further and to keep putting more research and understanding into Bitcoin. Thank you for watching. I will see you again.